Hi, my name's Helen. This is my channel, Helen Mary Jo. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're returning, thank you. And if you're a Hell's Bell, hello. I hope you're all well. It's Monday. I'm hoping very much to get this video up and delivered today, but I've got kind of lots of little videos to put together, so it's going to be a bit of a task. It's a beautiful day here today, absolutely stunning. The whole weekend was lovely, but there is a nice bit of a breeze today, so it's not kind of that stultifying heat because I've got quite a lot to do. So Sunday was a kind of a doing day, and yes, not Sunday, oh God, Lord, I don't have a lot to say and I still can't get it right. Saturday was a doing day, so I had the sewing machine out and I was very productive, and you know, I'll put the videos on of me sewing, but you know, as I say in the video, I am no expert. I've got lots of experience and I'll always have a go at anything. And you know, my mantra is good enough, and unless I've got my sister-in-laws, each of my sister-in-laws on Rob's side have, they are literally experts in sewing kind of upholstery and soft furnishings. But notwithstanding them, everything else, you know, everyone else I know, it would pass muster. So yeah, so you know, I got that fabric from the Scrapstore, which was fantastic. And like I think I've said before, they're all over the country. So if you do like crafting and stuff like that, I would certainly recommend you go and check them out, because it's a charity and it stops all this stuff going into landfill. So I ended up, I made 4 cushions. So on the video I show you the little rectangular ones that I've made, and I will put the measurements into the description box because I did get a little bit tongue-tied with it all. But you know, like I said, I'm not an expert, so filming it and doing it was quite challenging. Then I also made these two, so this is quite funny. This one was also fabric from the Scrapstore, and there wasn't an awful lot of it, and I had 2 old cushions that I used to have on the sofa, and I wanted to use those feathers. So it was quite funny, really. I made the kind of inside bag for the feathers, and then I went outside, and you know, I'm so impatient, and I just cut open one of the feather cushions. It started going everywhere. So Rob was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm just trying to put the..." He was quite patient, really, because it was bonkers. I mean, I kind of did, you know, I did all the obvious stuff. I pushed the bag right in and everything, but these blinking feathers were going everywhere. I said, the RSPCA is going to turn up in a minute. But we got there in the end. The last bit was, I mean, I'm so stupid. I should have shut the doors into the house. I should have gone further down the garden, but I did it. We had all the doors open and I literally was standing there. So they were all blowing everywhere. It was utterly bonkers, but we got it done anyway. And I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. So this is the front fabric. And then on the back, I used the other Scrapstore fabric, but back to front, it's the same as I used on the piping. And honestly, you couldn't get a better match, could you? And then I've just done the seam, the zip on this one. I've kind of just done it down to one side, and then I didn't have a lot to play with, so I've just done an inch kind of edging on it, really. So, you know, just made the cushion as you would, and then just ran the machine round an inch, and I'm really pleased with that. It weighs a ton. It's a really, really firm cushion, but I prefer that because otherwise, as soon as you sit on them, they go all like flat, don't they? And then the other one I made, again with fabric from the Scrapstore, and so I think this piece of fabric maybe cost £1. I don't even know, to be honest. And then I bought 2 cushions from Amazon when I was kind of desperately trying to find something in the right colours, which was this winter white business, which is a bit of a weird one because it is definitely not white, but it's not cream or ivory, so it is a shade of white, I suppose. And so, but the fabric that they were made from was a really thin cotton, and my sister-in-law, when she was here, unpicked one very nicely for me, and I used this fabric, which is like a heavy really heavy, coarse kind of linen. And then I just inset the trim that had been on the other cushion into here. And with this one, because I was really short on fabric, I put the zip here because I couldn't get 2 whole pieces out. But I could do this, and I've actually got enough to make another cushion. So yeah, I mean, I'm really pleased with that actually. So that was my doing day. So I will put that video together for anyone who's interested. And then the second part is just, we went out on the boat yesterday. Now this is a very old boat that we bought a few years ago, and my son-in-law Chris, who you will see on the video because he drives the boat mostly, he's kind of, you know, got it up and running, and we keep it on hard stand down locally. And yeah, it was the first time this year that I've been out on the boat because we just haven't had the weather. When the weather was nice in June, the boat wasn't ready, so that was a shame. But you know, through the summer holidays, we just have not had the weather. And it's quite funny because I said to Katie, oh, it's such a shame the kids are going back to school. She doesn't feel the same. I think it's hard work sometimes, especially because she's been working every morning as well. So yeah, what else have I got to report? Anything exciting? This weekend I'm going up to Cirencester to meet with 2 of the couples that we met on the Queen Victoria cruise that we did in April this year. So that would be really nice. Be interesting because I've never actually done this before. I've never met up. Well, I have years and years ago met with a couple that we met on holiday, and at least they'd soon as mended on that one. Really, it was a bit of a disaster, but I'm hopeful that this weekend will just be good fun. And we're doing a night up in Cirencester. And what else have I got on? There was something I was going to say. I can't remember what it was now, so it can't have been important. Oh yeah, I know. Mom jeans. I didn't think, and that is my bad really, as they say, because I didn't think about regional accents or anything like that. I always equate mom with Americanism, but you know, so many people picked up on it and said, I call my mum mom, and mum, mummy, mother, whatever. I mean, you know, as long as you're lucky enough to have one in your life, then call her whatever you like. And I take back what I said about it being Americanism. But basically, I did look up what it is. It's basically, they used to call them mum jeans or mom, wherever. It doesn't really matter. They should call them mother jeans because they're just jeans that are more comfortable really, because they've got the higher waist. When those really low rise jeans come in, you remember when the zips were about this long, and all the young girls were wearing those, and the mums were still wearing ones with zips like this, very sensible jeans. So that's where it comes from. And yeah, so they're mum jeans. I mean, wherever you're from, they're that jean, and very comfortable they are too. So I think that's enough of me rambling on. I'm still searching for a caravan. I really ebb and flow with the whole thing. One minute I think it's the best idea ever. I'm obsessed with looking at them. Even when I'm on the road, I'm like, oh, there's somebody towing a caravan. That looks easy enough. And obviously this weather now, you know, what I'm kind of thinking is if Rob wasn't working and we saw this weather forecast for the next, I've got nothing on in my diary till Thursday, we could have just gone away for a few days and just, you know, had a break. But anyway, it is what it is. We'll see what pans out. And yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. And I'm just going to pop these little sort of stories together, and I hope you enjoy them. And if you're only here for the hauls, then I'll probably have another one on Friday for you. So I'll see you really soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. I am in a different situation today because I'm sitting at my sewing machine and I am just about to make the first of 2 cushion covers. I told you about the fabric that I got in the Scrapstore, and it was this fabric. It's so nice. It's got this kind of weave and sheen to it, and then the back is like this. And what I'm actually doing is I'm going to use this back part for piping, and this face, this is the right side for the actual cushion cover itself. It looks very loopy, but it isn't actually. I think it might be a bit kind of catchy, but it isn't, I hope anyway. So yeah, so the first thing I'm doing, and I will confess to you, I watched a thing on YouTube and it said that you didn't need to cut the fabric on the bias to cover your piping. So I did one lot just with straight strips, and you do need to cut it on the bias. It just did not sit properly on the piping cord. So that was annoying. So I've had to kind of throw all that away, and I have just joined the strips together. It's very straightforward when you're doing piping cover. You just get your 2 square ends, right sides together, like so. Pin them across, not that way, that way. In the flow, if you remember, they're going the way that the piping's going, and then you just get that diagonal seam. So I have sewn a few strips together. Now, my regular ladies will also recall my disastrous visit to Dunelm when I was trying to get some piping cord, and the service was non-existent. I've just seen those dead flowers in the background. They need to go. But it was just as well I didn't, because I found this in my stash. This was some cord that I bought for my sister-in-law helped us make covers for the boat seats, and so they had what would you call it? I can only think of the word gusset, but you know, as a seam that we could put the cord through to tighten them up rather than elastic, because that wouldn't have been strong enough. So this was the cord we bought. So I'm going to use this for my piping, because I don't see why not. It won't run and it won't be seen or anything else. So I've got my zipper foot on the machine, and I know this is dark because obviously I've got the daylight behind me, but this is where I always sit to sew. It's not easy to say. And so I'll reposition the camera, and I'll see how far I get. I'm going to need some new bobbin thread shortly, but I'll get started and we'll go from there. There was a couple of things I wanted to mention whilst I'm sewing. You know, I know a lot of you sew probably a lot better than I do. I'm just an amateur, really. I've made loads of things, but you know, I do work on the good enough philosophy, and that is, if it's good enough, it's good enough. So I'll pin the first little bit, but I won't pin loads. And there was a few things that I've acquired in my later years that I wish to goodness I'd had when I was younger, when I used to do loads of sewing. That is using these headed pins. I find them so useful, because you're not, especially when you've got these gel nails on, you can't get the little pins out. This pin cushion on my wrist is an absolute godsend. I love it. Obviously sharp scissors, and when I was younger, you know, there was just one pair of scissors in the whole house. These erasable pens, so you can draw on the fabric and then the ink just disappears. And then probably, if I could only have one, it would be the scissors, but then it's my rule. And I have shown this in another video a long time ago, and it's called Faithful. I don't know why, it reminds me of that song by Elvis, you know, old Shep, he was a faithful dog. I love this ruler. It's really heavy, really sturdy, lays nicely on the fabric and helps me to cut a straight line, which is always a good thing. So I've cut the fabric already, and now my finished cushion, the actual cushion pad is 23 by 15, and I want the cover to measure 21 by 13, so 2 whole inches smaller than the cushion pad. And so I am going to cut it at 22.14, so that when I take it down with the 1/2 inch seam allowance, it'll be 21.13. I'll put it all below, but basically you measure your pad. If you want a tight fitting cover, like really tight, you want your finished cushion cover to be 2 inches smaller than the pad. So basically you cut the fabric 1 inch smaller than the measurements of the pad. I used to do it to the exact same measurement as the pad. So if it was 20 inch square pad, I would cut the fabric 20 inches, but that doesn't make it tight enough. I want this really tight. So I'm just going to move the camera, and I've got a zipper foot on here, and I'm just going to start making the piping. I thought the camera was running when I started this, but it wasn't. So basically I've got the zipper foot on here. I've got a longer stitch, and I'm just running along, feeding that through quite easily. I put the foot so that it always goes into the down position. So as soon as I take my foot off the pressure foot, it leaves the needle in the fabric. So you can see here that it's giving me a nice piping. And when I started making the first one, and I didn't have it on the bias, it was all wrinkling up. It looked horrible. So that was nonsense advice. So just shows you can't believe everything you read or see online. So I'll just finish making this run of piping until my thread runs out, and then I'll come back and start making the actual cushion cover. So now I'm just attaching the piping. So I won't start sewing right at the end, because obviously I've got to join those pieces. In fact, I'll start a little bit further away. And snip the corner. See what that looks like. And what you have to do when you come to a join like this is just find the end of the cord, and I'm going to cut that. I'm going to give it a good overlap just to be on the safe side. Quite a bit of cord there. And then you have to unpick. Where's my quick unpick gone? Hang on. It's not easy doing this filming at the same time, I can assure you. I've got a pair of scissors. Just unpick the seam here so that I can fold that fabric back and cut the cord so that it's kind of butting up against each other. So just take it back a couple of centimetres, I suppose, and then the same on the other side, because this is all going to get caught up again when we actually attach it to the cushion. So we've got the two pieces of cord are kind of meeting there. So I am just going to fold this one back on itself, which is quite fiddly, but it's not that bad. And then tuck that into it. So I'm just going to pick it up to do that bit. Like I say, it's fiddly, but you end up with just a little overlap piece like that. That's all going to get caught up in the when I machine it to the actual cover. So just the last bit here. It looks like that. It looks a bit bulky there, but when I stitch it into the other cover, it'll be fine. So now I've encased everything in, so there's the two sides of fabric and the piping, and I'm going to machine this as close, as tight as I can get to that piping. I'm going to start halfway down on the side seam because there's kind of no obstructions there, just to get in really tight. So I'll film, I'll machine that round. So I've machined that all round now, capturing the piping inside. I'm going to trim off the corners. This fabric is terrible for fraying. I'm now happy to cut the zip off because it's all encased. What a waste of zip, but there we are. And then I've just left a little piece of the zip undone so I can get my hand in there. And turn it all through, and hopefully I've got a half decent cushion cover. That's all right. can see the piping is all quite neatly encased in there, and because it is actually the same fabric, obviously the colours are perfect. That noise in the background is Rob washing the lawnmower, so I just need to trim that zip a bit more. It's a bit bulky. So I'll just pop the cushion in there now, get rid of these loose threads, and I'll show you the finished article. And this is the finished article. So it's a lot smaller than the original. That's the zip. There's a few loose threads. This fabric is a nightmare for fraying, but quite pleased with that. So I've got one more to do.